Good afternoon, everyone. It is 2:07 in the afternoon. We're going to start our session. We are going to be talking about Blackboard. This is an open Q&A session for faculty to bring questions. As before, Jetmir and Jose are going to be responding to questions, sharing their screen, and facilitating the session. My name is Pablo. I welcome you once again to this session. We are recording this so that we can make this available to people afterwards via the website that we have been sharing so far. We have a couple of questions that we're going to start with, and then we're going to open the floor to any questions that you may have. As a reminder, when you registered for the session, we shared a link. There's a total of like about 6 or 7 quick how-to videos and almost 4 or 5 Q&A sessions that we have run. So we encourage and recommend that you visit those so that you can see all the resources that we have so far, and always share a question if you have any. So I'm going to turn it over to both of my colleagues, Jedmir and Jose. And I wanted to start with a question from Carmencita, who is in the call. There's a question about, and Carmencita, you can jump in if you want to elaborate, but the question is, how can I use only one rubric for all of my assignments? Say that I created one rubric for one assignment, but then I have the same format for 5 different assignments. How do I use the one rubric that I created for one assignment for the rest of the assignments that I have? So I think, Jedmir, you probably are the person who can best answer this.
Yeah, so hi everybody. I hope everyone is safe. I want to thank you, Pablo, very much for putting this together in a very professional way. The answer would be a straightforward answer. The rubric needs to be attached to every single column. So if you have 5 assignments, there are 5 columns. Each column, and somewhere in the middle, when you go to edit column information, I can actually show it to you as I, rather, so just let me show it to you rather than just talk about it. So you see my screen, I hope now, yes?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll just go into my course and to one of my courses here that I'm using a rubric. So if I go to the Grade Center, you can see that I have many columns. So 5 assignments, 15 assignments, as long as, each assignment should be translated into a column. So, and essentially what we need to do, if we have that one rubric, we just need to go to the, next to the header, the name of the column. You will go to then edit column information. And from there, for each column, you will need to just as I have assigned this rubric, you just click on select rubric and assign it to it. It's just really that straightforward. But essentially, you would need to assign a rubric for each of the columns, each of the assignments.
Okay. I thought it was automatic from assignment 1 to all of the assignments. Thank you.
You're very welcome. No, the rubric, essentially, it's a manual process. It has 3 steps: the creation, attachment to the column, and then grading through it. So that's how at least I observe it as such. Another question that was asked here was the regarding Blackboard tests on mobile. You shouldn't have a problem unless, I'm not sure if Jose has received any tickets on glitches or anything. I haven't heard any problems. Perhaps Jose want to jump into it if he has heard any issues with tests as far as glitches or anything.
Well,
on mobile.
Thanks, Mary. Well, as far as issues, no, but there's like limitations when using mobile compatible tests. For example, there was a user that asked me if you're able to share videos or attach links, will they be shown as hyperlinks? And the answer is no. No, they wouldn't. The way that to work around that, it would be if a professor were to attach the link of let's say the video that the professor wants to share, then the student will either have to like highlight it with the phone and then copy it and open it into a YouTube or wherever that video was displayed. But that'll be kind of like, the extra work for the student if the professor wants to attach a video to the mobile compatible. When using the mobile compatible test is just pretty much straightforward. You create an exam, the typical question type, multiple choice, essays, fill in the blank, true or false. That's more towards how the exam for mobile compatible is designed for. Aside from that, I haven't received any other issues. There was just questions whether how do the students see the results. The students will see the same results by going into their my grades. So let me show you the screen how it will look, just to show you guys how it will look like regularly. So as a student itself, if I want to see the grades of my exams or itself, right, I can always go to the course itself, or I can hover over the notifications. You'll have an option where it says my grades on the top here, right under your name. This is where you'll be able to see the grades of your exams and everything that's upcoming for the quizzes or anything that has to have a grade consist with it. The other way that you can access the grades is by going into the course that you want to see. For example, if I want to see this computer repair class that I'm helping, I can go into the tools, and then I'll be able to find my grades here, which is pretty much the same thing. As regarding the mobile compatible test, a student will have to, in order to see the questions and the stuff like that, the student must go into the desktop to view the questions and answers. You won't be able to access the my grades, the results in the mobile compatible view. That's the only thing. If the student needs to see the results and see the questions and answers that they answer for the mobile compatible test, they need to go to a desktop view in order to see by going to my grades and then double clicking on the grade value to see the questions and answers. And that's pretty much for the mobile compatible test. It's pretty much straightforward when you guys create the mobile compatible test. We did a video. I think we answered that question in one of the previous sessions before, how to create a mobile compatible test. It's pretty straightforward as you were to create a regular test on Blackboard, and just the same settings as with it. As if I would recommend to use a mobile compatible test to a regular test, I'll preferably say have a regular test created for that, since it's more suitable for everybody. If a user just wants to open it on a laptop or using their phone in desktop view, in a desktop mode, they'll be able to open that test like that. But there's some recommendations like that. I don't know if you have any other tips as an instructor of how would you run the tests for that.
No, I think I covered the ground. Another question we had here was the student preview, so we could perhaps share that very quickly. You want to go ahead, Jose, or I'll go ahead?
Yeah, okay. I'll tackle this.
Thank you, sir.
So here we are in the same course, right? The question was how do I see the student preview in a discussion board? I think it was, right? Let me see. I have a question here.
That's correct, sir.
Yes. Okay. So now that we're here, let me just move this. We're in the test right now. I mean, my course. If I want to see the student preview mode, is simply by going up here next to the lock, next to the edit mode, you'll find this little student preview. So once you enter the student preview, you'll go into the view as one of your students will to see your course. You can see everything as a student will see right now. So right here, I will see discussions, syllabus, anything that your student will have eyes on. You right now will be able to see it. So just to exit, I'll exit the preview, and you're back in the instructor view. It's pretty straightforward. Just click on the on the dot with the two arrows that kind of simulates a kind of an eye per se, and that will enter the student preview. Does anybody have a question about that?
I guess not.
Okay.
And I also put, by the way, a message on the chat room. If you're joining us from a laptop or from any computer, at the bottom of your screen, you should see the chat room. If you can jump in with any questions you may have. So far, we have covered tests, the student preview, one question about rubrics, and I'm trying to go back to my email so that I can go into any other questions. Carmencita, did we answer the two of your questions? I'm trying to locate the other one. Please feel free to jump in if you have another question. Or anyone, and you can unmute yourself and unmute your mic and jump right in. Yes, Nora, do you have a
Yeah.
question?
Hi, Jose. It's nice to see you. And I
Hi,
appreciate
Nora.
all the help that you've provided. I'm so thankful. I kind of need repetition sometimes.
No problem.
When I create an assignment as part of my content folder, because I want them to respond to a set of questions that I've asked, when they answer that in the assignment, you know, they click on a folder and they're in discussion board. That's how I monitor the attendance and the participation to see the extent of the responses on the discussion board. So there's a worksheet that they're responding to certain prompts. They click on that, they write their answers, they do that kind of whatever they want to say. I can edit it right on with that pencil, right on the assignment prompt. Is that saved automatically and I can just forward it back to them when I close up the reply screen?
Talking about the box view in
the assignment,
in
right?
the assignment. Yeah,
yeah,
definitely. You can edit. You can write the comments and stuff like that.
Right. So I can pull up their file, edit their file,
Mhm.
and then do submit, and they'll see all my.
All your notifications and corrections on that. That's correct. Now,
Okay.
keep in mind that the tool that Nora is mentioning is when a user creates a submission under an assignment, it's a box view. That box is the third-party tool that Blackboard has implemented on their assignments. So you're able to write on their little icon. I don't know if I have an assignment here to just to show as a demonstration what would it look like. But pretty much it's the tool that you'll be able to write notifications, corrections, highlight things on the assignments, and your students will be able to see that once they clicked on the corrections itself. I don't have a submission of an assignment.
And I think in that box that you're speaking about, Jose, I think it's important to highlight that that will work if the student submits a Word document.
Right.
And so
Repeat that, please.
The box will display the actual document.
Yes.
And you as the instructor will be able to make annotations, highlight, provide comments, as long as the student submits a Word document. Because
Exactly.
Jose, correct me if I'm wrong, but if the student submits a PDF document, the box window will simply show a download option. Is that correct?
Right, that's correct, and that applies for also Excel sheets and stuff like that.
Okay.
If it's regular RTF or just TXT files, it will just show you, a download file. It's implemented right there where if a student submits a Word file, that's where you'll get that view, the third-party view, showing you exactly how it will look like.
So if you are teaching a class and you're assigning one assignment to students where they will write text and you want to use this feature, it's important to make sure that you remind your students that they submit it in a Word document, so that when they submit it, these assignments will go into that box that you were talking about, Nora, and you will be able to make annotations, highlight, provide feedback. It will save it automatically, and then it will send it back to the student.
Right. So all I
Only
have to
when the
write is
student-
submit. And it
Correct.
go,
Correct.
Okay.
And you will be able to do that when the student submits a Word document. Because I did see on the listserv some people were getting confused when they were doing all of that, but then instead of being able to write comments, they were only given the option to download the file. That happens when it's a different type of file, like a PDF.
Okay, so here an
That's what-
example, in this example, I just created a Microsoft a Word file, right? And I submitted as an assignment for this. As an instructor, you can always play around with this just to test out stuff. I just received a notification that I submitted something, so you guys can always play around with the exit preview. This will assist you guys if you guys want to like test something out, how it see, how do you have like an extra dummy account under your name. Is because pretty much when you enter your preview mode, you're entering as another user into your course. Now to keep that user, you want to exit the preview, and right here it says keep the preview user. This will keep that temporary user in your course itself. And another hint that you'll get that somebody's already, if you have a temporary user in your course, is if you see right here, this little dot, it's now green. This is a perfect example to let you know that there is a preview user that's in as part of your course. But now I'm under the instructor view, right? So I'm gonna see what Nora was talking about, how it looks if the student were to submit something. So let me go, and there's my preview assignment. So I'm under the instructor view. So as you see, I created a Word document, and from here, as a Word document, I'll be able to pretty much write and annotate on it, draw. If I want to insert a comment wherever I want to, I can just type in here and insert the comment real quick and post. This is to reply to the post. If I want to apply another reply, and just go in as a waterfall chain. And then once you're done with this, let's say I want to give the attempt, let's say 10 out of 100. Here's the feedback to learner. Keep in mind when you guys are playing with the feedback to learner, you guys can also attach another file. But not only that, if you click here to the content editor, from here you can actually attach voice messages, video messages by using this tool over here. From the feedback to learner, you have the options to attach images, clips, and also here record your voice by clicking on the mic, and then you click submit. And then when you submit, the student will be able to see that reply.
Do you have to have set up? I haven't set up the grade center yet because I'm trying to get all familiar with all the other things first.
Mm-hmm.
You need this. The instructor has to set up a grade center for all of this to be recorded in the grade center, correct?
No. So when you create an assignment, every time you create an assignment, anything that contains a grade value, a column will get generated automatically for those things on the Flow Grade Center. So you don't need to create those columns itself, because not only I wouldn't recommend that, because you'll give yourself more of a headache.
I don't want more complication. I want simplified.
Right, because if you were to create a manual column into your grade center and then you call it test 1, and then you create a test itself, you'll have 2 test 1s. And then you'll have to do cleanup later to remove those extra columns just to, have the organized stuff. So anything that has a grade value, so for example, anything that you use under the assessments, anything that you create under the assessments, a column gets created for it. So if you were to create a test, create an assignment, create anything under here, you need to provide a score value. And then that score value will get created and generated into the Full Grade Center. So you don't need to create a column for any of these things, because automatically these things will create a column into the Grade Center automatically.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? We've covered tests, student preview, rubrics, especially as we're getting near the end of the term very soon. What about the rest of you? We're opening the floor to any questions you may have. And again, you can unmute your microphone and pose a question either to Jose or Jadmir.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, go right ahead.
Go ahead, please.
Nora, I don't want to hog everything up. Just to clarify, I felt very validated when other people asked this question, how to resolve, how you get a thread and a reply and how you can have a record of the attendance through their replying to your forum prompt. So as I'm finally coming to understand that, I can suggest when the students reply to the forum prompt, they should create a thread. When they reply to each other, so it should just create reply under the student's response.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
So this way I don't have students that are replying and answering the forum prompt, but I don't have a record when I see the attendance. I have to go into every student's 12 replies to see their answer to the forum prompt. That's not good. So I will suggest answering the prompt on the forum, the discussion forum, create a thread. Replying to students, just click on reply.
Mm-hmm.
Let me show you a little tip for discussion boards. So this way you'll be able to manage your discussion boards easily as well too. So in your course itself, under the evaluation, under the course management, you can go where it says performance dashboard. On the performance dashboard, you're gonna see all the students that are currently listed in your course, alongside with the discussion boards that they submitted as well. So if you were to click on this number itself, it will take you to the responses that all these students have submitted towards the discussion board. So this way, not only that you can manage per user responses, but you'll be able to see what discussion boards they participated on. Of course, if you go to the discussion boards itself, let's say, you can always click on the forum and you'll see whoever participated on the list here for participants. So again, I went under the evaluation and I went to performance dashboard. On performance dashboard is here. You'll see all the list of students. Not only they're here, you'll see the last day they accessed, but also here they'll show you the amount of participations they contributed to the discussion boards. And then you can click on the number here to see those responses as well. That's a little tip.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
One comment I wanted to make, as the questions keep coming, we at Business and Technology are working on putting the summer courses together, and I thought that it's a good idea to share the starting off, to kind of to think about the courses in an online framework, which is not necessarily the way we usually do it, but starting early may help a lot. Questions may come ahead of time, so you could start to prepare your course, which, as we see, it's quite different from face-to-face. Even if you use Blackboard from face-to-face, doing a class online on Blackboard, it's totally different. So it's a good, so I just wanted to share it with you. It's a good time to think about on how you're formatting your course for summer courses as we move forward.
I have a question.
Sure.
Hi, I'm going to be teaching general psychology in the summer, which is a major transition from the classroom to doing it online, because the course is interactive. I do a lot of exercises with the students, and it's more engaging, and it's a lot more fun for the students, especially it's going to be 3.5 hours twice a week. So I don't know if you could answer this, but I'm trying to capture that spirit online. So
I'm sure Jose has his input in this, but I'll put my side of it.
Mm-hmm.
I always consider incorporating, besides discussion forums, things like blogs for personal reflections. Mm-hmm. Sometimes I even include wikis, which are also part of the Blackboard for group projects. Oftentimes group projects are type of assignments that we use for our class. Wikis are wonderful because you have one platform, a group of 4 or 5 students, for example, they can collaborate in doing it. I actually use Wikis for my online class at SBS there, and I find it, and now they have the final project started, and I find it very helpful. So with respect to the interaction, beyond discussion board, I would consider blogs and wikis, and perhaps with Pablo, we want to create a video on how do you work around blogs and wikis. I think that will be something interesting now that you brought it up. But definitely also Blackboard Collaborate, it's something to consider, where students can be in groups or all together on live sessions. So you could actually create a live session on Blackboard, and Jose has done few of those recordings already, and also in some of the live sessions that he did in classroom while we were in the college, where you could actually be live with students for as long as you want, and kind of like capture that spirit where everybody's there. So from my perspective, I would consider the tools that I mentioned. Perhaps Jose want to.
Okay. Yeah, you said Wiki. I didn't get the.
A wiki, yeah, WIKI. It's just essentially a platform, a tool which allows. It's great for group work. They collaborate. You get to see what everybody has done what, and so wikis. It's just something that I use, and I know some of the faculty uses it as well as a way to do group projects where they all are working on something, and you can check it as well.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Is there going to be, I don't know what a wiki is either, but my students have asked, we usually had done group work and I haven't been able to negotiate that. That's through Blackboard Collaborative doing the group work?
You just mentioned 2 different things, wikis
Right.
and Blackboard.
I don't know what the wiki even is, and I don't,
Okay.
and I don't know how to
maybe,
access it.
So maybe definitely it's something that I would suggest to Pablo for us to consider creating a video recording on blogs and wikis, because they kind of like go hand in hand, and really depends on the purpose that the faculty like to take the direction of the class. So blogs and wikis are more like group work, or blogs can be individual reflections. But Blackboard Collaborate, it's more like a live sessions where you have all the students live. And I would encourage you folks to take a look at the recordings that already are being shared on a very nice organized page that Pablo and his
On Blackboard Collaborative.
Yes, it's very detailed, a very detailed recording with questions also. So
Right, I've watched it, I'll watch it again. And that's it, you access that differently than the wikis and the blogs, that you just access as a virtual classroom in real time.
Correct.
The Blackboard Collaborate, yeah. The wikis and the blogs, I don't think we've created any resource, but we can certainly do one in the future. Yeah.
Right, but that's not in real time, the way that, I think the students
No.
want to have that face-to-face and see each other, and they seem to like that, but I haven't perfected it enough to feel I can do it for more than 20 minutes on Zoom, you know?
Right. So I would recommend, exploring and jumping into using the Blackboard Collaborate tool for that, as you bring your energy and your face into, your courses, which bring this familiarity to having like a classroom setting.
Right.
That's where I will say you can incorporate, use all the tools that are available for you. Use the discussion boards, the assignments, the wikis, the journals, and have the time to have the face-to-face with your students, so they can see and bring that energy that you'll bring to the classroom on a regular semester into these type of things. How to do it, like I said, there's plenty of things. I mean, if you guys want me to show you real quick how to access Blackboard Collaborate Ultra again, I can do it. If you guys are in your course, Blackboard Collaborate Ultra by default is a tool, so you'll be able to access this tool by going into your tools, and then from tools you'll see Blackboard Collaborate Ultra. So from here you'll be able to create a session, or just enter your course room. To create a session, you click here, it says create session. You name it whatever you want to. So we'll call it summer class 1. We'll leave these times by default. This is just a quick demonstration right now, what I'm showing you guys. All right, I have created my summer session. If I want to enter my summer session, I'm gonna click on it and I'm gonna click join. Right now I'm entering my online classroom. So right now I'm in my online classroom. As you guys can see on the bottom, you have your mic, so you can share your mic. You have your cameras to share your video. On the collaborate panel on the bottom right, I can click on that. Right here by default, this is my chat room. Will I be able to say something? And on the right hand side, I'll see attendees. So right now I am the only person in this room. So this is why I'm only showing up as a moderator. And if I want to share stuff, I can click on the button next to it that says share content. From here, I'll be able to share a whiteboard, share an application, share files. So for example, if I wanted to share an application, I'll be able to share my 2 screens. Right now you see 2 things because I have 2 monitors. Obviously, if you only have 1 monitor, you'll only see 1 screen when it comes to that. Another tip, if you plan to share video and audio, I recommend using Google Chrome. I'm using Google Chrome here as it gives you the option to share audio. I don't have this option on Mozilla Firefox. And that's how you'll be able to pretty much run your little classroom. You know, you have options for polling. You have also an option to break out into groups if the users assign. You can also share your PowerPoint slides, your document files, everything by clicking share files. All that is being done with the Blackboard Collaborate tool, just as if you were to do it with Zoom. So I strongly recommend creating a classroom and letting your students access the classroom by going into their tools and accessing the session that's been created for them, because they're already registered for the course. You don't need to send them a specific link, anything like that. They can just access the course by going into their tools and access the Blackboard Collaborate tool via that way. And like I said, that'll be your way to input your face and your signature into your classrooms as you run it through these semesters.
Thanks, Jose. I could also quickly share to you, we had an input how to actually create the wiki. So I'll show you how to create one, and I'll also show you how I am implementing it on an actual classroom. So let me share my screen very quickly. So I am here on my Blackboard, and I'm just going to go here to one of my test courses to actually create a wiki. And as I said, I'll cover 2 parts. I'll create the wiki. I'll show you how you do that, and also go to a course where I'm actually applying it, so you can see how it can be used. So to create it, I'll go to this course, and essentially wiki, it's a tool. So I'm just going to add it. This is my preferred way of using with tools. I actually create them and I start using them. So I just hovered over on the plus sign and I'm going to click on a tool link. I'll just put wiki here, or I can just say class wiki. And the tool needs to be wikis right here. It's wikis. I'll make this available for users, which means for the students. Hit submit, and it becomes a link. Now when I click on it, here I can directly create the wiki from here. And once I create the wiki, I have the option to students to collaborate. Now let me take you to a course where I actually have created it, and I want to show you how the students are working on it. So I'll go to my web design course in here, and here is final project. Now, final project itself, I created groups, and notice each group has its own wiki, all right? I'm not sure how far they are right now, but I'm gonna click on each one of them because they just started the final project, so it's not gonna be complete. But I'll be able to share with you enough content just for you to have the idea. So I'll click on Wiki 1, for example, here. And here is the wiki. And here, like every time they go to create a wiki page, it starts to keep track. You can keep track on how they actually do it. Let me go back and see another group. Because it just started, it's not much information. So you can see here how they're starting to communicate, like with the group members. Let me go back for a moment. Click on another one. Let's see if somebody started anything. It's too, like this group has not even started, for example, at all. But let me show you, for example, so I gave them an example on how it should be done. And I want to share with you this is a done project. For example, from 4 students. What you see in front of you, it's a page. And then each page, this page right here has the name of the students and their responsibility. And on the right-hand side, they have the individual pages which correspond with the work that they're supposed to do. So it looks beautiful with respect to a final project, almost like a web page per se, where you have the tabs here, you have the work. So this is an example, an end work. This is where my class will end up to. Where the final project just started, so they're in that stage where they're putting things together. But what you see in front of you right now, it's how a wiki page can be used, where 4 students in this case are working together. In this page, we have Emily, Elena, Nicholas, and Peter, and their respective things that they're supposed to do. They're essentially building a project, a website, and the sections where they're working on. So working on the wiki, it's a very nice way to collaborate and get all of the project into one. And what I have here, it's almost like a web page where all of their work is in one side, and it's very nice for me to see who did what. So all of this I informed them before. And using the wiki, it's tremendous. It makes things very, very clear, very organized. And by the way, with all of these wikis as well, as soon as you create a wiki, a great center column is created. So you could even see who's been working what on the grade center as well.
How do you assign, if you have a wiki, you create a wiki and I want to split up my students, I have 20 and I want to create wikis for 5 students. How do I assign 5 students or however many students I want?
So essentially, I go, like to me in my class, I'll share with you how I did it. I have full control at the beginning. So I create the groups, and I create the groups by starting from top to bottom. And then I'll take 4 students per group. And then I'll ask them to create a person to communicate. So it can be an efficient between me and the group. I speak with one person usually.
Could you repeat that again? How you picked your 4 people?
Yes, for example, I could go easily to the grade center. And here are my students. It's one place where I can see all of my students. So I would pick them directly from here. 4 students, group 1. Another 4 students, group 2. Or you can put 5 students, wherever. So, and then I'll go back to this final project, and I'll keep creating items, for example. I can create an item. And then in this case, I created a wiki. Each wiki for each group. And then I essentially put the group. I create the groups. I don't know. Since that it's online, it can be very hectic for them to organize themselves. So I just do that for them. But however, once they are grouped, I start to have them to communicate with each other in such a way that they select a person to communicate with me. I start observing with respect to how they're doing with the work. I check with them almost every other 2 or 3 days with respect to, are they moving forward to the direction that the assignment has been given. Because remember, at the end of the day, what's important for me is that they structure the work, right? That's a very important beginning. At the beginning, this needs to happen, right? They have an idea, it gets approved, and then they need to separate the work. All of these areas, I give them into a a detailed sheet where I list the requirement of the project. So they know they need to cover the overview, the project plan, headers, and everything else. So I hope I answered the question, Jose. Now, here's another thing. To me, wikis may be useful because I come from a web design world, web developing, and wikis was a part of it and kind of like was very natural for me to implement it in the course. Does that mean that it's a right tool for everybody? I don't think so. We all have our associations and our comfort levels with different tools. I would choose the one that works for each individual. To me, Wiki, it's been working wonderfully with respect to the final projects.
Thank you, Jadmir. There's an additional question that I think will make us shift gears. The question from Cynthia, I wonder, Jose, if you could cover this. How to import a test from a textbook resource?
Right. So thank you, Cynthia, for asking that question. So when importing tests, you want to make sure, obviously, that you have access to those textbook resources that sometimes publishers have. In order to you'll be able to export the exam as a zip file, right? So right now, what I went ahead is I created a zip file from a test that I created from one of my courses, right? So the way that you'll go and import that test, the zip file of that test that you got from those textbook resources, is you'll go under your course tools, you go to the test surveys and pools, right? Now, I think that these test resources, they send you as a pool. So you'll have to go to where it says pool, and then you click import pool, and you'll browse your computer for that file that the textbook resource gives you. I think they send you as a pool. They don't send you as a test itself, but I might be wrong, because it depends how they send you. They might give you the question set. So let's say if you're working like on chapter 3 or stuff like that, you get like a question set for like a test generator for that chapter. You'll be able to import that by clicking browse your computer, and then you attach that file on that.
The zip file, right? Because she mentions zip file on the chat.
Yeah, you get a zip file.
Mm-hmm.
You get a zip file, and that's where you attach that. Same thing if you were to do tests. If you were to import a test, and I'm gonna go to test servers and pools. Right, here's all the tests that have been created, for the testing purposes. So let's say you have a test, you have in a zip file that's supported in a Blackboard format, right? You go to click where it says import tests, browse your computer. I'm gonna go where it says the downloads, attach the zip file, and then click submit. Once it says the package has been processed, everything is completed, the test itself, this is the one, May 8th, is right now waiting in my test bank. This doesn't mean that it's already been, it's your students able to see it. No, it just means that it's waiting for you in your test bank, waiting for it to be deployed. Then how do you deploy the exam? You go wherever you want to deposit it, whether you have a tab called exams, how I created here, or just content or information. These are the default folders by Blackboard. And then create an exam by going under the assessments, click tests. And right here is my test 1 that I just imported into this course. Again, you first import the test or pools. They'll be waiting in your test surveys and pools bank, right? If it's a test, you'll see it listed in your bank here. If it's pools, you'll see it right here, like you have these test pools. This is an example, for example, that a professor created an exam on a text file, which means that she went and typed in the format of a text file, such as multiple choice, and a TXT file, and then imported that. So when the professor imported the questions, it shows as a Blackboard how it will look on Blackboard like this. I don't know if I still have the file that the professor, because I was assisting the professor. And when you're working on these creating a test from a TXT file is very tedious because you need to make sure that you're very aware of the spacing and the indents and all that stuff. It can be a little tedious. So that's why I recommend just when you're creating a test, just do the regular format that you're able to create a test from scratch, such as, add questions and what type of questions, formula, hotspot, and create the test that way. Let's see. Is there any other questions?
Yeah,
Yes, go ahead. Yes.
sure. How do I copy a test that I've created that is in that bank? How do I get it from one course to another? Like is that clear?
Yeah. Thank you, Professor. So same thing that I was just talking about. Let's say right here, this is my test bank of my course, right? So let's say this is the test I've created for course A, and I have all these exams here in my course A, and I want to take them to course B, right? So I will pick the exam that I want to transfer, and I can just simply click on the drop-down arrow and then export to local computer. What that does, it gives me a zip file, right? Which that zip file, we're gonna go into the other course for course B.
And
Same thing.
Before.
Exactly. So we're gonna repeat the steps. We're gonna go to test servers and pools, tests, and right here it says import test.
Yeah.
You click import test, browse your computer, and attach that zip file with that test. And then that's how you bring it into your other course. Okay. And like I said, once you import it, right here's a perfect example where it says deployed. It'll show you where this current test is being displayed in your course. So for example, right here, you can see an example that for this test number 1, I have it under exams. For this test number 1, I have it under content. This text number 1 under information. So this folder is under these menus, right? If you see it says no, it means that obviously has not been deployed. So by deployed, it means it hasn't been displayed for your students. Okay. Then to display it, you just regular exams, you go wherever you want to deposit it. So let's say if I want to put it in information, I go to information, I go to assessment and tests, and there is my test that I imported from my other course, waiting for me to just select it and insert it into my class.
Wow.
Hopefully I didn't confuse you.
No, you didn't. So I just want to make sure. So you go to export.
So first you go to the course where you have your exam, right? Where you have all your exam, you're gonna go under course tools, and then you're gonna go to where it says test, service, and pools.
Okay.
Then you click where it says tests, and right here you're gonna you see all the tests that you have created for that course. And from here you select the one that you want to export. You click on the drop-down arrow next to the exam that you want to export. Then you can export to your local computer. Okay. Keep in mind, every time you export to a local computer, it will go to your downloads folder, right? So you'll find it easier in your downloads folder, or if you want to move it to your desktop for you, easier to locate it, this how you'll be able to find it. So now that I have it in my downloads folder, I'm gonna go to, let's say, my other course, course B, right? Repeat the steps, course tools, go to test servers and pools, click on tests. Right now I don't have that test, right? I'm gonna click import, browse, search for that file in my downloads folder, open, and then submit. If it's submitted correctly, you'll see it says package has been processed, no log below. I'm gonna click OK, and here is my test that I've imported into this course, May 8th, 2020, 2:55.
Okay.
And Michelle, I'm also reading your other question about how do we give students permission to present a PowerPoint presentation?
Yeah.
Were you talking about like when you have a live session on Blackboard Collaborate, let's say?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, we covered Blackboard Collaborate a moment ago, but I'm not sure.
Okay. So then
But I'm not sure that Jose, you cover how to.
I can talk about
enable, that. If you could briefly address that. We did cover Blackboard Collaborate, Michelle, And by the way, we're recording this, and I'll make sure that
I'll get the recording.
that I
Okay,
share.
great.
Yeah, I can talk about it, but I see also there's a question
Yes,
from Cynthia that says, before I move to collaborate, can I edit the questions once imported? Yes.
Mhm.
So since it's a pool itself, let me go back to the course that I have all the pools. So this is the pools. I'm gonna go into my pools of questions, right? So you can also get into the question itself by clicking edit. Let's say for the question I want, and then from here you can change and edit the questions itself, like maybe some spelling, or you want to add more material and stuff like that. And you can edit the questions once they've been imported into the course itself. So hopefully that answered the question. Now jumping into the other thing for the Blackboard Collaborate tool. All right, I'm gonna go into my session. So keep in mind, whenever you have a student that wants to present something, you want to give them the presenter role, right? So let me, oh, that's right, I'm already in this. Let me see. I'm gonna go as a student, because right here I have this. Okay. Let me go to the session. So right now, right, actually, let me just make it bigger. All right, so right now, I'm in the instructor view. I have added my dummy account as my student. So right now on the attendees, I have the preview mode to just for this example, the demonstration, and I have myself, my main account as the instructor. If my previews my AKA student wants to present their PowerPoint slides, you'll want to, there's the attendee controls right next to the participant. You can click on that, and then you want to make them into a presenter. By giving them a presenter role, they'll be able to, I'm gonna go and switch into my other one. Where is it? I think this is the one. This is my student view right now, right? That's why I see Jose moderator, because that's instructor. Right now I'm in this as a student view. I have been given presenter view, which now I can go into the, now I can go into the share files and share my file for that, for the PowerPoint. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Because remember, if students won't have this as a student, they don't have this. Only moderators and presenters have this option. So I want to attach my files, look for my files, look for the PowerPoint, and then that's how I'll be able to share. Now, after, let's say the student is done, you can go back to, let me see, I think it's this one. No, this is the same one. Oh yeah, this is the one. This is the, right now, as you can see, right now it's showing that Jose preview is the presenter, right? So that's my student that's currently presenting. Right now I'm looking as the instructor view. Mm-hmm. After the student has been given his presentations, I can just go back to the attendee roles and make him a participant again. So he's back to the regular student.
So it's the attendee roles that, okay.
Right.
So it's the attendee roles that it's the attendee roles that will allow us to pull them in?
Correct. The attendee roles is what gives them the access to present and display. So for example, everybody by default, every student falls under participant. You as instructor, you have the moderator role, right? Unless you assign a moderator to somebody else. Mm-hmm. So if your student wants to present, you just go under the attendee buttons controls that's right next to the student's name. You click on those three little dots. You'll see it says make moderator, make presenter. You can remove from the session, make presenter, right? Right now, if I were to go into my other account, or to refresh, I won't be able to share nothing, because it says only presenters and moderators may share content. This is right now I'm in the student, right? Because I haven't been made a presenter yet. So as a student, I'll have to wait for the instructor to give me that role in order for me to be able to share the files and give you those options that I showed you before, that has that button to attach a file such as PowerPoint, and then it'll be able to display it to your whole class and everybody will be able to see it like that.
Okay. It was a group presentation on Wednesday and I using PowerPoint. So, but then I didn't I thought it was like Zoom, that they could just pull it up. And the presenter role, so that's where I said, well, I'll have to check about that, because I wasn't sure on how to give them the permission to present. And that was-
Right.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's about
Yeah.
setting their role, right? And
Mhm.
when you set them the role as presenter, they will automatically get access to sharing what they need to share.
Right. So like I said, keep in mind, once, let's say you select the user, you give them the presenter role,
Mhm.
right? After they're done and stuff like that, you always want to take it back, just in case, so this
Take
one
it back.
they don't disrupt the next presenter by, let's say, accidentally start sharing a file or something like that.
Okay.
So after they're done giving a presenter role, I mean, you see the roles that they have under their names as well. So you have a big good guidance to see, oh, I see that student A right now, I still have a presenter. Oh man, let me go take that out. You go over to the students and the three little dots next to it and make participants. So now the students make a participant again. And that's how you'll be able to manage the people that want to present during your student session.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Hi,
very
Michelle. I'd like to
welcome.
present. I'd like to share an alternative in case you see it feasible for this course or the future courses. If you find this somewhat daunting, because with groups and live and projects, it can be, when it comes to the entire class, if for some reason it's a direction that you want to think about. One time I worked with, I had a similar project, and I asked my students to create PowerPoints with voiceover, which you can do in PowerPoint. And then they brought together all of their pieces as one. And then as a slideshow, they shared it to the instructor. And in a sense, they were able to complete the project successfully without necessarily being in the same room per se. You know what I mean? So, and I find it that it's quite straightforward and simple for them to do as well. So if for some reason you find this an alternative, it could be a way that it can be easier for them and easier for you, because to be honest, to speak reality, when we want to have groups of people to present something on Collaborate or Zoom, it can be daunting both sides. I mean, to have a successful presentation. So I just wanted to share with you, I felt inclined to give you an alternative if you see it feasible.
Alternative, yeah.
An alternative for you to perhaps consider to do a group presentation in such a way that they work on their individual PowerPoints, and then they put them together and they submit it as a file to you, which you can actually listen as one whole. And that was just something I just felt like sharing also for the folks who may consider an alternative to live per se.
Thank you, Jadmin.
Welcome.
Okay, so it's 3:04 and we want to wrap this up. I would like to thank both Jose and Jadmin for their time, and the rest of you for attending this session. We will continue to offer Blackboard support moving forward. There are also recordings that we've done in the past. I'm going to share this one via YouTube as well later today, so that you can go back, rewatch, and follow the steps accordingly. So if there's no more questions, thank you very much for attending.
Thank you.
And send me an email if you have a particular question as well. All right?
Okay. Have a good weekend.
Stay safe, everybody.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Thanks, guys.